Hi and welcome to Crab Recap. Today I will tell you about a movie called Shadow Puppets. The movie opens with a woman named Kate screaming as she wakes up in a padded cell. She gets up and walks towards the door, banging on it and demanding to be released. Suddenly, a weird sound can be heard from outside, scaring her. It finally stops, but then the power briefly turns off. When the power returns, Kate hears the door's lock opening, and she decides to leave the cell. She comes out to a cold and empty building. She finds more padded cells in the corridor and finds a man inside one of them, asking to be released. She opens the door to find a man in his underwear just like she is. The man named Jack also heard the weird noise, and Kate figures that the blackout must have opened all the locks. He asks for her name, but they both admit that they don't remember anything about themselves or how they got there. Somewhere in the building, a man named Charlie is talking to a woman named Stacy, who seems to be very worried about their condition. They both hide inside a cell when they hear people approaching, who turn out to be Jack and Kate. They're separated by a cage wall as the four prisoners try to figure out their situation and how to get out of the building. Kate suggests that they split up to find an exit or other prisoners before regrouping at the gate that's separating them. Kate and Jack find some equipment and what looks like a freezer door. Kate opens it to reveal a strange-looking coffin, assuming that it could be a sensory deprivation room. They leave the room and inspect the equipment. One of them seems to be a temperature gauge. They hear the monstrous sound again before they hear knocking sounds. Figuring that it's another prisoner, they go to check it out. While exploring, Charlie and Stacy find stairs going downwards. Stacy refuses to go down because it's dark, so Charlie volunteers to go down alone. Charlie appears through a red door into a brightly lit room and sees a woman swimming alone in an Olympic-sized pool. Charlie is too busy eyeing the naked woman as she leaves the pool to notice that the door behind him is opening. Stacy walks up to him and surprises him, asking if he found anything before she also sees the naked woman. The woman named Amber doesn't seem to know where and who she is either. Charlie and Stacy turn their backs to Amber while she gets dressed, which is when Charlie sees something weird coming out of Amber's shadow on the wall. When he turns back to check, Amber looks normal and her shadow also returns to normal. Back to Kate and Jack, they find another door that leads to a hospital room with a man lying unconscious on a bed. They enter the room, finding it somewhat trashed, like it's been ransacked. Kate approaches the old man and tries to free the device strapped on his head. She says he's alive but might be brain dead, and a machine that's connected to him has been used 8 times before. She inspects a brain scan, and Jack points out that she seems to know a lot about the medical field, suggesting that their skills may still be intact despite losing their memories. Jack finds a couple of lab coats and gives one to Kate so they can be warmer. They look through the cabinets for anything useful, accidentally knocking over a tray full of surgical equipment and making a loud noise. They're scared that someone may hear it and come their way, but nobody did. Jack grabs a scalpel from the fallen tray and checks outside before a man comes running into the room and attacking them with a pipe. He grabs a hold of Kate and demands to get answers on his situation, as he thinks that they're his captors because they're wearing lab coats. After convincing him that they're on the same side, the man named Dave lets Kate go. He tells them that he found a way out down the hall, but it's electronically locked just like their padded rooms, and he couldn't get it open. Then, Jack sees the shadows of some glass bottles shifting into a weird shape and forming a figure on the wall in front of Dave. Suddenly, it pierces Dave's chest with its sharp, shadowy appendage. Dave tries to grab the appendage, but his hand just goes through the mist-like shadow. Kate and Jack are being chased by the shadow creature. Jack uses Dave's pipe to break open a locked gate just before the shadow creature reaches them. They throw themselves into one of the padded rooms while the shadow being continues rushing down the corridor, no longer chasing them. After some time, they leave the room to continue exploring and find a stairway leading down, which leads them to the pool where they find wet footsteps leading to the locker room. They get jump scared by Amber, who taps Jack from behind, followed by Charlie and Stacy, who are all hiding in the lockers. Kate and Jack tell the others about what happened upstairs with the shadow creature. Stacy doesn't believe them, but Jack also says that the murdered man allegedly found a locked exit upstairs. They won't risk going back up because of the creature, so Amber leads them to find an exit on this floor instead. Stacy says that she doesn't trust Amber, and Charlie admits to seeing her shadow growing some tentacles earlier. However, Kate says that Amber is one of them, and they decide to follow her lead. They stop in front of a metal door with bloodstains remains nearby. She opens the lock with keys left nearby and enters the room, followed by the others. They emerge in a different corridor, with a cell that's holding a man dressed just like them. The man, named Steve, is still alive, and he raises his head to look at Kate. Steve implies that he also lost his memories as he approaches the cell bars with his chained hands. Kate opens the cell door using the keys she found earlier. She also opens Steve's restraints, and he immediately pees by a wall. When Charlie protests Steve's crass act, he says that they should be worrying about the woman locked inside a closed cell on the other side of the room instead. While Kate inspects the cell, Amber slips outside the room to where they came from. A woman's head comes to view, and she has her face restrained. Kate opens the door, revealing the woman who is wearing a straitjacket that's chained to the floor. Kate tries to open her mask and straitjacket. The woman named Melissa also seems to have amnesia, and while Kate is busy freeing her, they notice that the shadows in the room are starting to move. The shadows begin to gather behind Steve, but Steve acts quickly and ducks down with Jack right before the shadow creature tries to attack. The creature moves away from the wall and towards Melissa's cell just as she got freed from her shackles. The light in the cell goes out. Jack tells Steve to get Charlie and Stacy out the room while he stays to get Kate and Melissa out. He uses a spotlight from beside Steve's cell to look inside Melissa's cell, finding Kate and the creature right beside her. The creature flees because of the bright light, and Kate says that Melissa is still in the cell somewhere. In the corner, they finally see Melissa's body, and Jack drags Kate away from the room. Charlie calls out to them, and the group reunites, with Steve manhandling Amber. Despite seeing the shadow creature, Stacy still has a hard time believing it's real, instead thinking that they're all insane. Steve says that Amber left the room right before the creature emerged as if she knew that it's going to attack. Amber says that she doesn't need their permission to leave, and Kate agrees with her, asking Steve to let her go. Kate opens a door which leads to some kind of locker room. There, she finds notes on every locker which has their identities documented on them. Charlie is a computer programmer. Kate is a researcher. Stacy is a finance executive. Jack is a lawyer. Steve is a prisoner. And Amber is a mental patient. In their lockers, they find their clothes and are glad to be changing into them. Kate finds out that Melissa was a nurse for the place, and that Dave was the security chief. Charlie finds a flashlight and a gun in Dave's locker. Steve grabs the gun, saying that he should have it because he's experienced, based on his crimes of armed robbery and attempted murder. Kate mentions that the gun may be useless on the creature, but light seems to have scared it away. Steve wants to go to Amber's cell when Kate hears a phone ringing behind a locked door. She tries to open it with the ring of keys that she has, but it stops ringing before she finds the right key. Amber leads them to the room that she woke up in, which looks better than the padded rooms upstairs. Kate mentions that the mirror in Amber's room is a two-way mirror. The phone rings again from the room behind the mirror, so Steve shoots it before destroying it with a table. Kate goes through and picks up the phone, but it dies right after she does. They realize that they're in an office room with blood all over the walls, but there are no bodies. Charlie tries to turn on the computer while Kate looks at a map of the building. He finds out that they're in a psychiatric research facility run by a man named Dr. Frederick Manger, who managed to develop a drug that can completely wipe someone's memories. Amber was the first test subject for the drug, then Steve in an attempt to cure his violent tendencies. Jack was in the trial in an attempt to wake him up from a catatonic state, but something went wrong. Charlie says something was reported about the body leading to the mind leading to the spirit, but nobody understands what it means. The memory wiping machine was used 8 times, but Jack's entry was the last to be written. Nothing was found about Kate. Stacy's name is on the visitor list of the day, and Charlie, along with Melissa and Dave, are employees in the building. Charlie and Jack head inside a control room where Charlie points out cables leading to the main generator above ground somewhere, which are damaged along with the phone lines. The men return to the group with 2 more flashlights, and Kate says that according to the map, there's only one way in and out of the building, which is through the security door that Dave mentioned upstairs. Charlie says that they can open it by shutting down the power to the door. He can use the computer to do it, but it needs a network which needs at least one more working computer. Kate mentions the computer in the hospital room, and Charlie says they only need to turn on the computer to make it work. The pool room and the deprivation room will still have power because they run out of a different source. Before the group leaves, Charlie says that he must stay in the office to turn off the power, but he'll try to regroup with others using a flashlight. Amber offers to stay with Charlie. The rest of the team leave to go upstairs while Charlie sets up the computer to establish a connection connection. The group safely return to the hospital room, but they find that Dave's body is missing despite the blood on the walls. Kate wonders why the creature hasn't attacked or killed the comatose man lying in the room, despite his body still being alive. She points out the now destroyed mind-wiping machine and the fact that it was only used 8 times while there should be 9 people, including the comatose man. One of them has been lying about losing their memory, and Steve thinks it might be Charlie. Before the lights are turned off, he wants to make sure that there really is an exit, so he leaves the room with Stacy and tells Jack to turn on the computer only after they return. In the hospital room, Kate is surprised to find out that the comatose man's name is actually Jack Roberts. She suspects that Jack might be the imposter, so she asks who he really is. Instead of answering, Jack says that they were only trying to help people. However, something went wrong when they tried wiping the mind of someone without a mind, since Jack Roberts was brain dead. Jack says that because the machine didn't find his mind, it came for his soul instead, which became the shadow creature. Jack reveals that it was Kate who locked the facility when the creature emerged so that it wouldn't escape. Kate realizes that Jack is actually Dr. Frederick Manger all along, and he admits that she is actually his wife. Frederick turns on the computer to restore the network before saying that he was betrayed by Melissa, who, like Kate, thought that he had gone too far with his experiments. Melissa told Stacy about this in their annual audit, which jeopardizes the facility's funding, prompting Frederick to wipe both their memories, followed by Dave and Charlie, who opposed Frederick's decision. He wiped Kate's memories because she betrayed him, and he wants to preserve his love for her. He only says that the creature prefers to hunt people whose memories and clothes are intact. He starts to strip down to his underwear and implores his wife to do the same. Steve and Stacy return to the room when they realize the computer is on. Kate yells for them to look out just before Frederick stabs Steve with a scalpel, causing him to drop the gun. Stacy runs away, and Frederick gets up once he kills Steve, but he's immediately hit by Kate. Downstairs, Charlie turns off the power to the security door and immediately leaves with Amber as the door's lock opens and the lights shut down. Stacy is right in front of the deprivation room when this happens, and Kate finds her sitting on the floor. Kate tries to get her to leave the building and tells her that Jack is actually Dr. Manger. Meanwhile, the man sneaks into the room with the gun in his hand and shuts the door, locking Kate and Stacy inside. Charlie and Amber almost make it to the pool when they see the shadow creature forming behind them. They run towards the pool and jump into the water while the creature escapes through the vents. Charlie exits the pool and sees that the creature is appearing at the bottom of the pool. It pulls Amber into the water before emerging, causing Charlie to run upstairs. In the deprivation room, Kate tells Stacy to take off her clothes so they don't get attacked. Kate attacks the creature with a flashlight. It moves towards the dark corner of the room. Panicked, Stacy opens the deprivation chamber and enters it, followed by the creature. When her screams die down, Kate opens the chamber to find only Stacy's blood remains inside. Outside, Frederick is walking towards the door and opens it, only to find Steve still alive. Steve attacks him with the scalpel, but Frederick shoots him multiple times. Frederick doesn't realize that the monster is right behind him as he staggers outside the door. The creature stabs him with its appendages, killing him. Meanwhile, Charlie opens the deprivation door to save Kate. He says that the creature killed Amber, and she tells him about Frederick and Stacy. On the way out, they see the creature above Frederick's body. Kate tells Charlie to take his clothes off and to prepare their flashlights to charge at the creature. They successfully scare off the creature and escape through a hatch into a forest. The creature comes after them through the hatch, slithering through the trees. While running away, Kate and Charlie trip over and fall down, causing the creature to catch up. It prepares to attack them, but the sun begins to rise, causing it to run away again. Fortunately, it can't run from the sun forever, and it eventually gets destroyed. The movie ends with Kate waking up after passing out, with Charles next to her. They realize that the creature was killed by the sunlight, and they walk away in freedom. That's all for now. Thanks for watching. Write your opinion about the movie in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss new videos.